are you doing today? My name is Lindsay and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who's Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How are you doing? I am so excited to be on here, not because I have like super important bakery business news, but I just have some fun things that we have been doing, like I guess as a family or as a business. I don't really know the way that you'd look at it because it is a family business. So they kind of intermingled that I'm really excited about. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know totally what I'm going to talk about on my live today. So that's what we're going to talk about. How are you guys doing? If you're watching me live, use a heart, let me know that you're catching me live. If you're watching me on replay, use hashtag replay. And if it's the first time you've ever caught me live, use one, let me know. It's actually the first time I've caught you live. I greatly appreciate you hopping on. So last week, if you didn't watch my live, I talked about 5 books that I read in 2021 that I highly suggest you read, and then 5 books that I hope to read over the next year. I actually already finished one of them. It was a really short, quick read, The Alchemist. And I would definitely suggest you reading. It's really super quick. It's about chasing your goals and your aspirations and what you want to do, and not like veering off the path and not worrying about the ups and downs of lives, but just working towards what you want to do with your life. And so I really enjoyed it. It's actually, like I said, it was the only fiction book that I had on my list, and I did enjoy it. So I dropped the information in the description if you're interested in reading it. I just picked it up from my local library, but it is available on Kindle and through Amazon and all of those things. Another exciting news. I'm going to get all the shop talk out of the way, and then that way I can talk about the things I want to talk about. So DoorDash is officially in Waterloo, and so we are getting set up back on DoorDash. We were on DoorDash when we were located in St. Louis, and because it wasn't available in Waterloo, we had to come off of DoorDash, but it is back in the area, so we are working on getting DoorDash set back up so that if you're wanting some tasty treats and you don't want to get out with the cold weather, which we totally get, you'll be able to have it delivered to you, right? Great. Yes. So we're working on that. So I'll let you guys know as soon as it's completely like up and running. So it was so funny because last night I was working on like, what I'm going to post about on our social media tomorrow. And a lot of you guys have like laughed and stuff at the post. It went way better than I thought. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but this is truly what happened. So I like put the pictures like on Instagram, like, and I'm like practicing typing it out. Cause like, I don't know, I prepare for the day, right? Cause otherwise I just don't do it. And so I'm like thinking about what I want to talk about. And I like, write yum cookies. And I was like, well, that's done. And then I'm like, and I just sat there and finally I was like, I have no idea what to talk about. Have you ever had that same experience? Right. And then I was like, and I deleted it. And I looked at my husband and I'm like, I have no idea what to post about. Like I have these pictures. What am I supposed to say? If I talk about the cookies, it's super salesy and like, it's not authentic and it's really not what I want to say. And I'm like, and truly what I want to say is I sat down and I have no idea what I'm going to say with this picture. So here you go. Here's a nonsensical like caption, right? My husband's like, just write that. Just write that. Like, it's just that simple. And I was like, it is just that simple. And it was so nice to see some of you guys like, I totally get that, been there, done that. Sometimes I go to post and I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what to say. Just look at my picture and let's move on. Kind of thing. It was totally what it was like last night for me. And then, so we've been working in the shop on this little project. We have some people in town who we had help us with this project. Okay. And I don't want to give too many details because it's not completely finalized. It's not rolled out yet. So I have to like be vague about it. But with this project, I provided some instructions on how to bake something, okay? And mind you, I've told you guys before, like I am not a baker, right? My mom's the baker. And so my mom gave me the information and I like wrote it down. And because I don't have everything I need, I'm just making a prototype. I hand wrote the instructions on what I want this person to do, right? And I give it to them and they're like, oh, it was a lot of fun. But the directions, there were some like issues with the directions. Luckily, we knew enough about baking that we were able to kind of follow what you needed us to do. But I'll give you my notes on like what happened. So she sends us her notes today and I legit like lost it. Okay. So I'm like reading through her notes and some of them I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I get to this one and she's like, stir it 2 minutes, really 2 minutes, it's flour and sugar. I don't know why I'm turning like mixing this for 2 minutes. And I was like, well, why would you mix like sugar and flour together for 2 minutes? That's so weird. And then I read what the next instruction was, which was to whip your eggs. And I realized instead of telling her to whip the eggs for 2 minutes, I told her to mix the sugar and flour for 2 minutes. My sister, who just commented, she and I have been like laughing all day about it. And like I was making lunch and she's like, oh, maybe you should whip that for 2 minutes. I was like, I know. It might not be as funny when I retell the story, but my sister and I have been cracking up all day because I was like, well, that's what happens when A, you're not the baker. So the instructions, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And B, like, when you handwrite stuff, it's so easy to mess up. I had lined paper too. Like, seriously, come on, let's use lined paper. How do you mess that up? But I did, whatever. It was funny. It made me laugh. Just so you guys know, the Valentine's menu, we will be announcing it soon. I know you're thinking Valentine's, like I just legit got over Christmas. I know, but it is never too early to be prepared. Otherwise, you'll be frantically running around like, oh my gosh, everything is closed. Oh my gosh, it is down to the wire. And I did not get my significant other or my kids or whoever something for Valentine's Day. And if you don't believe in Valentine's Day, you don't celebrate it, like, that's cool. Like, you could still get tasty treats without having to celebrate Valentine's Day, But we will be rolling that out for you guys very shortly so that you can start preparing for your Valentine's and be ahead of things, right? Because if you're like me at Christmas, you were behind and you're like, oh crap, whoopsies. Yeah. So let's talk about what I actually have planned for the live today, which honestly really has nothing to do with baking or owning a bakery business per se. But it was like something tiny that really, really kind of spiraled into something pretty cool, I guess, really, if you think about it. And there's a whole reason I'm bringing this up to you guys. Okay, so as you guys know, my sister has 2 daughters. I have 3 daughters. I almost said my sister had 3 kids and I have 2, and that is not correct. My sister has 2 kids and I have 3 daughters. So she has 2 daughters. I have 3 daughters. And, a lot of our business, like they're involved in our business. They are there for meetings. They are there when we're late. They have to come in on the weekends when we have to do things. They're pretty involved. They understand like what we do on a day-to-day basis and what kind of effort we put into things. They see it. They see it all the time. They see when we're not home. They see when we're busy. They see when they're there, stuck at the shop, hanging out because we're doing whatever. They're stuck in kitchens. Like they get it. Okay. And so it's been a journey for all of us. Like for me, my sister, my mom, and crazy enough, it's been a journey for my kids, which, you really don't realize how much what you do affects your kids until things like this, show up. So my middle child, I've talked about this a couple of different times. My middle child, she's always talking about how she wants to own a business. And I've told her before, oh, well, you got to like, oh my, I found my watch finally. I did not silence it. I silenced my phone, but not my watch. So she's always talking about how she wants to start a business. And I'm always going through like, okay, what do you want to do? Where are you going to sell it? I just give her some pointers thinking, okay, she's eventually just going to flitter off of what we're talking about. And she typically does, but she always comes back to the point that she wants to own a business. Okay, so my niece got cash for Christmas because our older girls are older. So she got some cash for Christmas and she went out and bought, I don't really know what it's called, a wood burning kit. I would think it's a pin, but I haven't actually physically seen it. So she bought a wood burning kit and she wants to do some wood burning things. So she and I were kind of talking about, first of all, she's going to New York on a trip and she's been working hard to raise the money for her trip. It's been really important for my sister and I to encourage her to think outside the box and think of ways that she can be self-sufficient and get the cash that she needs for New York, right? So she was like, I could do some woodworking and I could look into like selling this stuff. So she took some of her money and she bought her, I don't know if it's a pin, my sister would have to let me know, whatever she needed for this woodworking kit. Okay. And I was like, all right. So then she and I were talking. I was like, you could go on Etsy and sell them. I was like, my suggestion would see what's kind of popular, kind of get your brain going. What is it you want to make? See what kind of keywords are out there. This has been kind of a theme. Keywords have been a theme in this. Okay. So I'm like going through these things with her. And in doing so, my eldest is like, well, I want to start a business. And I'm like, okay. Create a pitch. I'm like, create a pitch for me and pitch me your business idea. I said, but I don't want you just doing whatever, like I want you to legit think about what it is that you want to do, how you expect it to work, where you're going to find your materials, how long is it going to take you, what are you going to price it for, what are your costs, and then you need to come with me with what it's going to cost me to invest in your business. So she's like, okay, I'll do that. And then we got to talking, and she was like, well, I really don't know what information you want from me. So I was like, okay. So I gave her a list of questions that she has been doing some research on. And I don't want to spoil all of their ideas, but Haley's doing the woodworking. Brianna is thinking about candles. And then my middle child, the only one that's not participating in this is our youngest. My youngest, not my sister's youngest, my youngest. So my middle daughter is like, well, I want to own a business. And I was like, all right. So like I told Brianna and Haley, write a pitch and let me know what kind of investment I have in this business and what your game plan is. And so I had been working with Brianna and Madeline and kind of talking to her about Haley. And then last night, my sister calls me and she was like, girl, now Raylan's on it. And I'm like, all right, I'll call Ray. So that's my other niece. And I call her and I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I really want to start a business, Auntie. I have this great idea. And she loves fidgets and puppets. And I know that it's a really popular thing, but she's a very tactile child. She's always been very tactile. And so puppets and fidgets are really, really big for her. And a lot of times she and I will discuss when you play with that puppet, how does that help you? What does it do with your brain? And some of them she uses to help calm her brain down. Some of them she uses when she's feeling kind of anxious about something or unsure. Some of them she uses when she's thinking. She likes different ones for different things. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I'm like, but you're going to have to put a pitch together and you're going to have to pitch me your idea and the investment. And so she's been working on, so all the girls are working on pitches, right? And some of the questions that I had them answer were the cost of your materials. Okay. So they had to look at that. They had to look up keywords. What are some keywords you could use for SEO? Right. And I know you're thinking that is really above a 9-year-old. So we had to sit down and we had to talk about keywords and how the internet works and what SEO is and what we're looking for when we're going on Google and Etsy and things like that and Pinterest for ideas. And we're writing down some of those keywords. They're taking notes about what words they should be using in descriptions and stuff. So they had to determine what the investment from me was going to be. They also had to determine how they were going to pay me back for my investment. And we've been kind of talking about long-term, if they want input from us on how to continue growing their business, what kind of investment does that mean for us? So it's been a really fun project that they've all been working on. And all of them learn differently. Raylan and Brianna are very similar in the way that they think. Madeline and Haley are really similar in the way they think. So I couldn't just say, okay, all of you give me the facts and put them in a PowerPoint. Some of them struggle with spelling and reading and getting thoughts out of their heads into things. And so I allowed them to adapt their presentation to their needs. So one of them is doing a video pitch to me. It's harder for her to write things out and type things out. So instead, she's recording herself. She's answering my questions. She's putting her pitch together. She's recording videos, and then she's sending them to me. One of them is creating a PowerPoint. Actually, that is my middle one, Madeline. She's working on her PowerPoint right now, and she's got these pictures she's been adding. She's been taking notes. She has a whole piece of paper where we sat down and calculated the cost of her material and how much she wants to make and all of these things. It's been a really fun project. I couldn't believe how much fun we've actually had in this. So all of that to say that over the next several weeks, you may be seeing more of that kind of information from me, because I told the girls, all right, some of their pitches are, I could have it in the shop. I could do a pop-up in your shop. I could do a post on your Instagram or post on your Facebook page. You could share it out for me. So I have agreed to let them share some of their journey with you guys. And so you're going to see some of that over the next several weeks. As long as I can keep them engaged in those activities, you're going to see me sharing that kind of information. It may be stories, it may be posts, it may be lives. I have really thought about doing interviews with them, like having them sit at a computer and interviewing them and letting them go live with me and talk about the business. They're all thinking about names of their businesses and things like that. So it's kind of, I'm like, I'm nerdy. I know I've told you guys that, like, I'm totally nerdy. And so like, this is super exciting to like geek out with my kids and my nieces on this. So you're probably going to see a lot of that over the next several months. I'm not going to lie. If I can keep them engaged in doing it, we will be doing it for sure. That was really like what I have been so excited about telling you guys about. Like as I was getting ready this morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, like everybody's going to love it. I don't know if you guys like my story or not, but it's so true. And I am excited about it. But I really wanted to prep you guys because you're going to be seeing some things. You're going to be like, I don't understand why this little girl's necklace about Disney has anything to do with a bakery. It doesn't. It has everything to do with inspiring our daughters for more. Like, it's been crazy to watch them change and be inspired and like start taking charge of things and following through and making goals. Like, those are the things that have been really amazing to see with our kids. So thank you for letting me talk about that. Like, I have been like really excited. I'm not going to lie, like really excited about that. So yeah, anyways, don't forget Valentine's Day menus will be coming out soon. Sports are starting out for this spring. We want to remind everybody that we do fundraisers. So if you have a sports or a club that needs to raise money for, you know, maybe new uniforms, maybe to cover expenses for like, I don't know, competitions and things like that, let us know. I dropped a link in the description, but we do a cookie dough fundraiser. That's right, cookie dough fundraiser. You would keep part of the profits for your team, and then you can go and use them for the things that you need for your club, your team, things like that. We've actually done 2 of them in the past year, and it went really, really well. And so we just want to let everybody know that we are definitely available for you to help you meet your money goals when it comes to fundraising and doing things with your clubs and teams. All right, you guys, if you're watching me live on Facebook, you really should be liking and following us on Facebook. I mean, you are watching us, right? If Facebook's not your jam, you just happen to catch me, I totally get it. I spend a lot of time on other social media as well. We are on the other social media. Facebook is the only one that we are at. Perfectly Pastry Bakery is something that I messed up when I first set up our social media accounts years ago. It is a thing. It happens, right? All the other social media, we are at Perfectly Pastry. Makes so much sense. I know. All right, you guys, I'm going to hop off of here for the day. I want to tell you guys, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for watching me. Go ahead and share this information out. I would love for you to like and share out the video. It helps us out a lot. It helps with engagement. It helps get our message out. And so I just would ask you guys, if you wouldn't mind just to do that, just like it, just heart it if you don't want to share it. I totally get that. All right, you guys, I'm going to hop off. I will stop rambling and I will see you again next week. Bye.